And hello once again, everybody. It is Thomas, and welcome back to SFF180. This is Mailbag Monday for September 15th, and as promised, I am doing 2 weeks worth of the mailbag. This time, a big old stack of books. Can't fit the whole thing in my lap. I hope all of you have had a really good week and a really good month so far. We'll get right into it, shall we? Without wasting any further time, this is a big old box from Amazon's buddies, the Hachette group. Let's see what's in here, shall we? All right, and here we go. This one is already in stores. This is The Broken Eye. It's the third volume in the Lightbringer series, probably Lightbringer trilogy, to be honest with you, by Brent Weeks, very, very popular epic fantasy writer. And as you see, he writes good old chunky books, a la Sanderson. So, yeah, every light casts a shadow, every shadow hides a secret, every secret hides a truth as the old gods awaken and satrapies splinter. Their Chromeria races to find the only man who can still end a civil war before it engulfs the known world. So you see, he tends to go along very traditional lines in terms of, the plots he comes up with, but, very popular storyteller. So here it is. If you're a Brent Weeks fan, The Broken Eye, as you probably already know, is out in stores. Okay, and this is a package from Pyre. Okay, well, here is another arc. KV Johansson is putting them out a little bit faster than I can read them, but this is the second book in the series that began with The Leopard. This book is called The Lady. The series is called Marikand. And anyway, it says, possessed by a ghost who feeds on death, the undying assassin, Alviar the Leopard, has been... Well, okay, I don't want to read any more of this because it's probably going to be chock full of spoilers for The Leopard. But anyway, here we have this very quickly progressing series from KV Johansson. This is The Lady. And it comes out, what does it say? It comes out December the 9th from Pyre. So let me know if you'd like me to get on those. I think it's always kind of nice to discover a new series and one that's not necessarily getting all the buzz, right? Like so certain other series do. Let's see, this is a package now from, well, this is probably going to be a tour book in this one. Okay, it's not a tour book, and judging by the cover and some of the back cover blurbs here, it looks very much kind of like a para-romance thing, which, again, not really my thing. But if you're a fan of this sort of thing, the book is called Feuds. The author is Avery Hastings, and this book is out from St. Martin's Press, and it says, genetic optimization isn't a stretch. In the 21st century, we have vaccines, medicines, and science on our side. But what if we could eliminate disease completely and build a superior human race? Okay, well, maybe not. It just would it be worth the cost? That is the question that Avery Hastings explores in her debut novel, Feuds, releasing on, I guess it's already out, September 2nd. For Davis Morrow, perfection is a daily reality. Like all priors, capital P, Davis has spent her whole life primed to be smarter, stronger, and more graceful than the lowly imperfects or imps. Oh dear. A fiercely ambitious ballerina, Davis is only a few weeks away from qualifying for the Olympiads. Do they have ballet in the Olympics? And finally, living up to her mother's legacy when she meets Cole, a mysterious boy who leaves her with more questions and each time he disappears. Okay, so now there's a love story. Blah-de-de-blah. Davis has no idea that Cole has his own agenda and that he's a rising star in the Feuds, an underground fighting ring where... I see your originality slipping away. Then Narcissus, a deadly virus, takes hold. Well, this is just like everything, but the kitchen sink is in here. We now have, perfect people, and ballet, and romance, and fighting rings, and now we have a deadly virus. And Davis's friends start dying. When the priors refuse to acknowledge this epidemic, Davis has no one to turn to but Cole. Falling in love was never part of their plan. It never is. But their love may be the only thing that can save her world. All right, everybody. Here it is. It's Feuds by Avery Hastings, and it's available now in stores. Sorry to sound a little mean about your debut book there, Avery, but sounds like you're not really very fresh on the idea front. What's in here? All right, this is another arc. It's called The Deep. The author is Nick Cutter, and I have already, here on the Mailbag, showcased a book of his called The Troop, which Stephen King found very scary and very oogie boogie. So let's see what The Deep is all about. We have a desperately clinging hand, and we have very ominous looking art. So here we see a strange plague called plagues, viruses, plagues all over this week. That's the theme. Called the Gets. Is decimating humanity on a global scale. It causes people to forget. I guess, like how to say the first half of the word forget. Small things at first, like where they left their keys. Then the not-so-small things, like how to drive, or letters of the alphabet. Then their bodies forget how to function involuntarily, and there is no cure. But now, far below the surface of the Pacific Ocean, deep in the Mariana Trench, a heretofore unknown substance hailed as ambrosia has been discovered. A universal healer. From initial reports, it may just be the key to a cure. In order to study this phenomenon, a special research lab, the Trieste, has been built 8 miles under the sea's surface, but now the station is incommunicado, and it's up to a brave few to descend through the lightless fathoms in hope of unraveling the mysteries lurking at those crushing depths, and perhaps to encounter an evil blacker than anything anyone could possibly imagine. Okay, so, you know, we get a bit of horror, a bit of SF, quite a lot of thriller stuff. I personally find the deep sea terrifying. So yeah, this is one that could probably get to me. But here we go. The Deep by Nick Cutter. Now, when's it come out? It do not say. It must say. Oh, comes out January 13th. So this will be a New Year's title for you. Okay, well, here is a book that I have been, on the one hand, looking forward to getting, but on the other hand, rather sad that I have to get. This is Last Plane to Heaven, and it is, as it is billed here, the final collection by Jay Lake. You know, he died recently of cancer. Lovely man, sweet guy, and a really talented writer, just bristling with great ideas and exciting stories. So here's the final book from him. Anyway, it says, with bittersweet pride that Tor Books is publishing Last Plane to Heaven, the final collection. It is on sale tomorrow. Curated by Jay himself. These 32 stories are what Jay wished to be the last piece of his legacy, gathered together in one collection. From aliens to angels, Jay's fiction knew no bounds, nor did the love he left in his wake. So here it is. This is coming out tomorrow. I hope it does very, very, very well. I'll be reviewing it along with some of Jay's novels that I still have yet to get to. But Last Plane to Heaven by Jay Lake. That's a shame. He really was a sweet guy. Okay, now folks, this is a very, very rare occurrence. I usually have extremely good luck with the Postal Service in terms of delivering books to me. You know, whether I get them from publishers or whether it's stuff that I buy. But when they screw up really hard. Just feast your eyes on this. Just, isn't that lovely? I mean, it looks like a vehicle ran over this damn thing, obviously. It's, man, this is sad. Imagine if I'd paid for this. Boy, I'd be pissed. Well, let's see what's the unfortunate victim's name, shall we? Oh, okay. Well, anyway, this is a new omnibus compilation by Charlie Stross. It's called The Bloodline Feud, and it collects the first 2 novels in his, you know, the Family Trade series, Family Trade and The Hidden Family. And The Family Trade is a novel that I read and reviewed and really, really, really enjoyed. I thought it was a terrific, satirical, kind of a alternate world fantasy where, you know, economics is the thematic engine of the plot, as it were. No one had ever really done that, and I found that it had a lot of wit to it. But at the same time, this is a very polarizing series for Charlie's readers. You know, you either love this one or you hate it. You know, I have seen no middle ground drawn in the you know, the Merchant Princes. That's the name of the series, not The Family Trade. Anyway, yes, but this is the first 2 novels now in one edition, and if you find it at a shop or if you buy it off Amazon or something, or especially if you buy it electronically, it's likely to turn up in better shape than this damn thing, which I'm just going to have to throw out when I'm done with it. You know, but anyway, here we are. It is out now, The Bloodline Feud from Charlie Stross. My God, this is just ridiculous. Okay, everyone, it looks like I have just made a very easy choice as to the priority of the review queue. Here we go, Ancillary Sword. It's funny, because I was just emailing, like a couple of weeks ago, you know, my person at Orbit. She's like, we don't have our copies yet, but here it is. So, oh well, voila. So, now since I have been you know, behindhand getting Ancillary Justice, that review posted up to the channel, well, now I have an excuse to just do them both bang bang together. So yes, top of the queue, Ancillary Sword by Ann Leckie, sequel to the award-sweeping Ancillary Justice. And here's a little package from Random House, or Penguin Random House. or Random Penguin. You know, when Random House and Penguin merged, I was really, really hoping that they would name the new company Random Penguin. But they never listened to me. Okay. Oh, interesting. Yes, I got a request about this and said, please send, please send. Yes, this is something called the Holly Book of the Dead. The author is, how do you pronounce that? Chrysler Zarlin. Yeah, let me read up and tell you what this is all about. Okay, so Chrysler Zarlin is a woman, and her character here is named Revelation, or Rev. Anyway, it says here, magic is in Rev Dyer's blood. She grew up listening to her grandmother's old family stories stretching back centuries to her ancestors who founded the town of Hawley Five Corners in Massachusetts. Their history is steeped in secrets, with few outsiders knowing that magic runs deep in Hawley and in the Dyer family. The Hawley Book of the Dead begins in Las Vegas, Nevada, where Rev and her husband support their family and mask her true talents with a famous illusionist act. But one evening, an intruder tampers with their props, and the show ends in unthinkable tragedy. Fearing for the safety of her daughters, twins Faye and Grace, passionately devoted to horses, and little Kaylee, who may be able to weave the future with her endless games of cat's cradle, Rev flees to the only place that she can think of that might be safe, Hawley Five Corners. It's where magic reigns, and her oldest friend and first love is Hawley's chief of police. Delving into the past for answers, Rev discovers the Hawley Book of the Dead, an ancient leather-bound journal holding mysterious mythic power. As she pieces together the truth behind the book, Rev must shield herself and her daughters against an uncertain, increasingly dangerous fate. For soon it becomes clear that the stranger who upended Rev's life in Las Vegas has followed her to Hawley O'Dear, and that she has something he desperately wants. The Hawley Book of the Dead is a dazzling debut that will make you believe magic really does exist. Well, it just sounds fascinating, a contemporary fantasy. And this is out in stores on the 23rd of September. So let me know, guys. Debut novel by Chrysler Zarlin. And yes, I'm sure she grew up hearing all kinds of jokes in school about, you know, if she had brothers named Buick and Ford. So don't need to worry about them here. But what's this little package got in it? Here we go. So, hey, okay. It is an arc from my fine friends at Orbit, and it's the new book by Greg Bear called War Dogs. Well, looks quite ominous. Okay, and it's the first in a series, which is a little unusual for Greg. The Gurus were a highly advanced species who brought amazingly useful and sophisticated technology to the human race. There was, of course, a catch. There always is. They warned of a far more malevolent life form, beings who have hounded the Gurus across the cosmos. Isn't this already sounding like the premise of the video game Destiny, which I happen to be playing right now? The media have taken to calling them the antagonists, or antags, and they have already established a beachhead on Mars. For all they've done for us, the Gurus now need our help. Yeah, it's like the same premise, exactly. Enter Master Sergeant Michael Venn, a veteran Skyrine, who is dropped onto the Red Planet with his band of brothers on a mission to turn back the Antag tide, but the Skyrines will face impossible odds just to survive, let alone make it home alive. So, okay, so it's that kind of action, bang-bang, shoot-'em-up story. Comes out October 14th. You know, Greg Bear, of course, you know, he has a long, long history and is well-known and respected, you know, as a writer of hard science fiction and sweeping space opera. I'm a massive, massive fan of his old book, The Forge of God, which is about an alien invasion that doesn't work out too well for us. But he has also since gone on to, I think, write at least one Halo novel. So his mind is very much in, I guess, that kind of game space. So it's not surprising that we would get a story like this from him now. Could be fun, though. You know, could just be solid popcorn entertainment. War Dogs by Greg Bear, like I said, comes out October 14th. And last but not least, I have a big chunky package from my pals at Penguin, which has many, many multiple things into it. So this is a good one to wrap up with. Okay, well, they were quick on the ball getting these out. I think I only sent off the little request form for these like 2 or 3 days ago. So here they are already. These are many of the October Penguin mass market paperback releases. So let's just go down the stack, shall we? All right, first off, we have the third book in Anton Strout's series called The Spell Mason Chronicles, and this is Incarnate. Okay, and next we have Reckoning, which is the sequel to Cursed, and it is a Fallen Siren novel, second in this series by S.J. Harper, urban fantasy. All right, next we have this book here called Bloodbound. The author is Aaron Lindsay, And this is one where Ace is really getting behind it. They're doing a big push here. They're trying to do like a blog tour with this lady. So to try to get some real buzz for a debut novelist. So let's see what this is all about. A cunning and impetuous scout, Alex only wishes to serve quietly at the edges of the action. But when the king is betrayed by his own brother and left to die at the hands of the attacking Iridian forces, she winds up single-handedly saving her sovereign. Suddenly, she's head of the king's personal guard, an honor made all the more dubious by the king's exile from his own court. Surrounded by enemies, Alex must help him reclaim his crown, all the while attempting to repel the relentless tide of invaders led by the priest, most feared of Iridia's lords. Oh dear. But while Alex's king commands her duty, both he and a fellow scout lay claim to her heart. Oh dear. And when the time comes, she may need to choose between the two men who need her most. You know, why can't we just ever have a book with a strong female protagonist where she doesn't have to make that choice, right? Why can't she just do a bunch of badass shit all by herself, you know, not need... But anyway, you know, it still could be a very entertaining, sounds like quite a traditional fantasy, but could be well written. So let me know. The Bloodbound by Aaron Lindsay. Right, then we have Summer Moon, which is a Celtic Wolves novel, sequel to something called Celtic Moon. And in case you hadn't already gotten the general idea, it is a rather lycanthropically themed and quite possibly very heavy on the romance modern fantasy series. So Summer Moon by Jan de Lima. And then finally for the paperbacks, we have the mass market release at last of The Lost Stars Perilous Shield. This is the latest book in the ongoing sort of Lost Fleet universe space opera military SF series that Jack Campbell has ridden all the way to the bank. It's been very successful to him. As some of you may know, his real name is John G. Henry, and I've read a lot of his older novels under that name and was quite impressed by them. He does not write the usual sort of reactionary, jingoistic, military SF chock full of machismo and that sort of thing. It's actually very much the opposite. Very intellectually engaging for this particular subgenre. So I quite like his stuff and am really looking to get caught up with these novels because I am very far behind. But The Lost Stars Perilous Shield is now in mass market paperback. And then, finally, in that big envelope, they crammed in a couple of new hardcovers, one of which is the third book in the Lost Stars series, Imperfect Sword by Jack Campbell. So this is continuing on very quickly, and very excited to see this if you're a Jack Campbell fan. And next, if you're a Mercedes Lackey fan, well, looky here. She has yet another new series beginning in her Valdemar universe. You know, this began many years ago with a book called Arrows of the Queen. And so if you are a dedicated Mercedes Lackey fan, naturally you will want to grab this. She tends to be, even though she's wildly prolific, I mean, several novels a year, you know, 2 or 3 at least. And a lot of them are set in this universe. So she sells huge numbers of books and is wildly popular and has been around forever. But at the same time, I think she is one of these writers that doesn't have like a mass readership among general fantasy fans. She has her hardcore fan base who are wildly dedicated and read everything. She's that kind of writer. She doesn't, that I know of, have a lot of general readership appeal. But, you know, it's enough that, you know, she keeps this gravy train going. So more power to her. Mercedes Lackey, closer to home. And you know what, everybody? I lied. Well, I didn't deliberately lie. I was just mistaken. I did not notice this one forlorn final tiny little package on the floor when I was picking up the big one, but here it is. One last book for this big batch. This is a debut novel by a woman named Beth Cato. It is called A Clockwork Dagger, and it is very steampunky in appearance, is it not? Well, let's read up and see what this is all about. Okay. Well, according to this, they're making a big deal here on the sell sheet about how she is sort of, you know, following her own rule book, as it were. Classically, steampunk is set in Victorian England, or in an alternate version of the world we live in, at the very least, and it's generally classified as a subset of science fiction rather than fantasy. A certain aesthetic goes along with the genre, etc., etc., etc. The Clockwork Dagger is different, however, they promise us. More fantastic than scientific, it is set in a universe completely of Beth's own imagining. Every gear-powered invention serves a clearly defined purpose. Every aspect of the steampunk aesthetic Beth portrays so well actually plays a vital role in the universe she's created, in addition to conveying a sense of pulpy, exciting scenery. So, okay. Well, I mean, you know, I'm happy to see her kind of, you know, marching to the beat of her own drum on this kind of thing, and not just doing same old, so, But this is a massive... Where the hell is anything just like a basic plot synopsis? It's kind of hard to find it. Clockwork Dagger is Gail Carriger meets Trudy Canavan. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Replete with humor, romance, and high-flying, ether-powered event. Yeah, but I mean, what's it? Octavia's healing powers are... Why don't I just read this part? Here we go. Orphaned as a child... Yeah, back cover. There we go, Wags. Octavia Leander was doomed to grow up on the streets until Miss Percival, very Victorian-sounding name, saved her. Gifted with incredible powers, the young healer is about to embark on her first mission, visiting suffering cities in the far reaches of the war-scarred realm. But the airship on which she's traveling is plagued by a series of strange and disturbing occurrences, including murder, and Octavia herself is threatened. Suddenly, she is caught up in a flurry of intrigue. The dashingly attractive steward may be one of the infamous Clockwork Daggers, the Queen's spies and assassins. And her cabin mate harbors disturbing secrets. But the danger is only beginning. For Octavia discovers... Octavia? Blah, blah, mouth is dry. She discovers that the deadly conspiracy may reach the crown itself. Okay, well, you know, you've got your... You got your corridors of power, skullduggery, and plots and counterplots and conspiracies, etc., and airships and corsets and stuff like that, and dashing stewards. Here we are, Beth Cato, The Clockwork Dagger. Yeah, well, let me know. Let me know if you want to check it out. Debut novel. Okay, and that, I promise, is the last of this week's batch. Pretty exciting, big batch, isn't it? Lots of fun. Always happy to see this new stuff, so you know the drill, right? Unless you're a new viewer, then the whole idea behind Mailbag Monday is fire up the comments, let me know which among all these books looks most exciting and intriguing to you. And if you enjoyed watching, as always, please leave a like, share this video online with your SFF reading friends on social media, and above all, subscribe and get all of your fellow readers to subscribe as well. That is how this channel grows. Let's get this thing up to 1,000 subs super fast. That would be really, really super awesome if we could do that. And thank you again. Until I see you next time, happy reading.